In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can create a good CV. This CV is going to be a CV that you can use to apply for jobs. Sometimes most of the challenges that we face is how do we create CVs that we can use for job application overseas. And one question I've always gotten from subscribers is, why do you think we should have a good CV? Well, there are two basic reasons why you should have a good CV. One of the reasons is you should have a CV because it is the first point of contact between you and your employer. Because if you are living, for instance, in Lagos, Nigeria, and you want to apply for a job in Finland, there's no way the employer can recognize or know you except through your CV. And second reason why you should have a good CV is because now there are some jobs that over 1 million people are applying for, and without your CV, the employers will not be able to know your experiences. And so your CV is where you can actually express yourself, show your experiences for the employer to know that you are very good. Are you getting me? So now when writing your CV, before you start writing your CV, there are some things you should put into consideration. It's just like you want to build a house, you need to buy a land, then also get an architect that will draw the plan. Now, when creating CV, what you do is you create a CV, but it comes with a plan. The plan is known as a format, and every country has their format. So if you're applying for a job in maybe Finland, it has its own format. UK has its own format. So you should know the plan, the format of the country you are applying for jobs from. All right. Now, talking about format, when you are writing a CV, there are some things you should avoid. There are some errors you have been making that has caused you a lot of pain, agony, and even sorrow. So most of you are crying that you've been applying for jobs and yet probably no response. Even the response you get is unfortunately. Well, this video is actually to make it clear so that you go back to the drawing board and do corrections. So the first thing you need to know is that your CV should not be more than 2 pages. That is a golden tip. If you can make it less than 2 pages, that's 1 page, the better for you. Then if you have more experiences, you can try as much as possible to squeeze everything, take the most relevant experiences and put it at least 2 pages. Okay. Now, secondly, your CV should have a good font. When I mean font, we have font size and font style. Font size should not be less than 10.5 or 10 and should not be more than 11. In a nutshell, what I'm saying is that your font size should not be too big or too small. If it's too small, it becomes a problem. If it's too big, it becomes an headache for the employer or the ATS machine. Are you getting it? Then your font style should be simple. At least Arial or Times Roman is okay. The ATS machine will be able to detect it. Are you getting? Don't use stylish decoration and all that. The third thing you need to take out from your CV is too many decorations. Some of you put flowers, you put ring as borderline. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. Okay. One other thing you should also take note: if you're applying for jobs in the UK, it's different from when you're applying for a job in Europe. So, for instance, in UK, Canada, New Zealand, these countries, Australia, they don't need you to put your picture. So don't put your photograph when you're applying for jobs in those countries. You can go on Google to just search and you'll see. Don't put your picture. If you're applying for jobs in UK, those countries I mentioned, don't put your marital status, whether you are married, single, or divorced. No one cares. Don't put your full home address. Nobody needs it. You can just put Ghana or Accra, Ghana. Lagos, Nigeria. Simple. Are you getting it, guys? Another thing you should also not put is your date of birth. Don't put it there. Nobody wants to know when you were born. All they are interested in is your work experience and what you are bringing to the table. Are you getting it, guys? And also, one thing again you should not do is to make your CV bogus. When I mean bogus, putting irrelevant information that are not related to what you're applying for. For instance, if you're applying for a tailoring job, you don't need to go and put your experience in banking and finance. Okay, so that is what they call tailoring. Now, I'll do a separate video on how to tailor your CV. So if you want me to do a separate video on how to tailor your CV, just let me know in the comment section. But for this video, I want to concentrate on how you can actually, create a good CV all by yourself without, needing the help of me or anybody, because I'm tired of taking your money. All these things I want to show you is what I do when you pay me for my service to create a CV for you. So guys, are you not lucky? So now guess what? There are structures. There's a format in which your CV should come up. If you are creating your CV, building your CV, or writing your CV, there are some pattern it should come with. One of the things that your CV must have, and must start with, that is your contact details. Your contact details should contain your name, title of job. Maybe you are a nurse, barber, or whatever. You put it under your name so that it will be easier for the employer to know what you are standing for. Then you have your residential address, and like I said, make it short. Canada, if it's Ontario, Canada, you put it there. Lagos, Nigeria, you put it there. You must put your social media handle, put it there. Also, you must make sure that your social media handle does not contain things that will, implicate you. For instance, if your LinkedIn handle, you are applying for a job, maybe a capital job, and your LinkedIn handle, you are putting electrical engineer, you see you've disqualified yourself, because it shows that you don't know what you want. So put your LinkedIn handle, make sure you take out all the rubbish, else you might shoot yourself on the leg. Another thing you should also take note of is that you must put your email address and also WhatsApp number. The reason is because WhatsApp is very common nowadays, and most people use WhatsApp for interview, and so they can easily contact you with WhatsApp. Sometimes they prefer contacting you with WhatsApp than email. So put your WhatsApp number. Okay. Now, guys, after your contact details, the next thing that will come on your CV is your personal statement. Now, your personal statement, this is where you actually let the employer know that you are the best candidate. You sell yourself to the employer. You explain what you are bringing to the table, why they should choose you over the other applicants. Remember, they receive a loads of applications every day. For instance, some companies receive up to 10,000 applications in a week. So if you want to stand out, this is where you sell yourself to the employer. So your personal statement must be very strong and vital. Put the main point. All right, don't beat about the bush when you're writing your personal statement, okay? And it should not be more than 5 lines or 5 sentences, okay? Don't make it too big, long or lengthy, okay? So give them the main point, the key point. Now, one other thing that comes after personal statements is your work experience. Your work experience, make sure you put experiences that are relevant to the job that you're applying for. Like I explained previously, if you're applying for tailoring, don't go and put your banking and finance work experience in tailoring. Make sure it all aligns. They're all the same, related to the job or the work experience. Are you getting it, guys? Now, guys, the other thing you need to know when you're writing your work experience is that you should start it in reverse chronological order. What that means is that you must start from the most recent job experience that you have. Are you getting it? Don't start from your 2019 or 2019 work experience. If you are in 2024 and you have any experience, you start from there, then you break it down. Don't make it too lengthy. At least 3 to 4 work experience that are related to the field is okay. Are you getting it, guys? Now, after you've done this, the next thing you need to do is what we call qualification. Now, your education, you must also put it in chronological order. Make sure you put your highest degree first, followed by the next and the next. And sometimes you don't necessarily need to put your primary school education, okay? Because it's not necessary. All right. Now, one thing I want you guys to know is that in the Western world, they value your experiences more than your education. So even if you have a PhD and you don't have any experience, they give you a task, you cannot do it. Someone that has secondary school education background, if they are able to do the task, they will employ that person. So that's why your certification or your education does not really matter. It's what you have upstairs. Are you getting it, guys? So make sure your education is align chronological order, remove the primary school. Sometimes you might even remove the secondary school. Not, it doesn't really require it, except if that's the only certification or education that you have, you can put it there. Okay, so guys, after that you have to do what we call your skills. Your skills come next. So you put your skills, make sure you highlight those skills that you have. Remember, we have hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills are those skills that you can touch, while soft skills are those skills that you cannot touch. For instance, leadership skills, management skills, and what have you. Okay, make sure you align those skills like problem solving skills, put them there for the employer to know that you are good. The next one that will come after your skills is volunteering, achievement, awards, certification. So it depends on you if it's awards that you have, if it's certification that you have, if it's achievement, you put the heading there and write all your achievement. If it's award, write your awards and all that. If it's volunteering you've done, put it there for them. It will help you to sell you faster than those that don't have any of those things. Okay, so the next one is your language. When you are putting your language, ensure that your language is related. So if you can speak Russian, a language that are universal, you put it there. So if you can speak English, you put it there. If you can speak little German, you put it there, and you put the level. If it's B2, C4, just put the level there so that they know that this person knows how to speak German to some point. That will also give you an edge when you're applying for job. Guys, the last point or the last thing that will show up on your CV is what we call reference. Most times in Schengen zone, they don't really necessarily need you to put the names of the referees that you are using, but if you want to put it, you can put it there. When it comes to UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, these countries, they don't want you to put it. All you need is just to put reference available on request. Simple. And when they need it, they'll request for it. And one thing I should also tell you is that you shouldn't lie about anything on your CV, because when you do so, you will end up, shooting yourself in the leg. For instance, if you lie that you have a qualification in architecture and you don't have it, it becomes a problem when they are looking through your CV and they ask you questions in that field. You are dumbfounded. And remember what the Bible says: when you say the truth shall set you free. So ensure you always write things that you can defend on your CV. If you cannot defend it, don't write it there. And also, don't forget, if you want me to do a separate video on how to tailor your CV, let me know in the comment section. I'll be waiting to respond. If I get more comments, I will also do a video on that, guys.